The Chicago Bulls pick Michael Jordan of the University of North Carolina.
I played professional basketball for the Chicago Bulls.
You know, if you put your mind to doing whatever you want to do, you know, good things can happen. Sports is a tool that teaches, you know, and it teaches you bad things. It can also teach you good things. It's how you perceive those things. I've looked at every experience that I've had, negative and positive, and taken that as a positive. You know, if I wouldn't change anything because I think it would alter some of the other things that happen. You know, so when I look back, I can't say that I've had any bad things happen. Sure, I mean, you don't want bad things to happen, but you deal with bad things. You can't have good or without bad.
I just played the sport because I loved it, and because of the work that I put into it, next thing you know, success was kind of bestowed upon me without me actually chasing it. It just happened. I didn't think I would ever be this successful. I've always believed that I'm a good enough man to accept the good. I'm a better man to accept the bad, and I believe that.
My competitive drive is far greater than anyone else that I've met. You know, I think that I thrive on that. I think that's my biggest motivation in life, you know, is to compete, you know, find different competitions in certain things in life and try to overcome that, you know, be it positive or negative. But I have yet to meet someone who is as competitive as me, you know, and I just feel that much confident about my competitive drive.
From the moment he set foot on an NBA court, Michael Jordan dominated his sport like few athletes ever had. He electrified crowds with his skill and style. He turned the Chicago Bulls into a dynasty with 6 championships in 8 years. And in 15 seasons with the Bulls and Wizards, he would transcend the game of basketball, becoming one of the most recognizable athletes in the world. Not bad for a player who was once cut from his high school team. But that didn't stop Michael. In fact, nothing ever did. And after soaring to the top of the NBA, there was never a doubt that Air Jordan would one day land in the Basketball Hall of Fame.
It's easy to understand why many consider Michael Jordan the greatest player in basketball history. But describing what made him so great isn't so simple.
You know, I have the greatest respect for Michael because he put his heart and soul on the court every night. You know, just watching him dribble up that court and looking you right in the eye and not knowing what he's going to do is the scariest thing you ever want to be involved in.
He just made you wish that for one day that you could fly in the air. You wonder what it would be like.
It was as a freshman at the University of North Carolina that Michael burst onto the national stage.
A 1-point lead. Shot. Jordan. Michael Jordan. North Carolina has won the 1982 NCAA championship.
The biggest shot in North Carolina history for a first-year guy to come up and be that willing to take that shot and to make it really just boosted him on to the career that he had.
Michael would become a 2-time College Player of the Year, and his high-flying exploits dazzled fans across the country.
As soon as I got in the dressing room, Michael comes running in and grabs, Coach. I said, what? Yeah, what, you okay? He said, I hope that dunk wasn't too flashy. I said, what dunk? He said, the one I just did at the end.
I guess that is a pretty fitting end to the ballgame. Jordan, look at that! Holy cow!
Probably something I told him, let's don't, embarrass people with that.
Drafted by the Bulls with the 3rd overall pick in 1984, he was an instant sensation.
Can cut it to 1 if they score. Jordan down the middle, all the way! Jordan with a steal.
Our first day of practice, one of our assistants called me after the practice and said, I don't think you screwed the draft up this year.
It's an effort by Jordan, who has it on the break, driving all the way in. Oh,
The one highlight I always remember in my mind is the one down in Atlanta, and he kind of gives a little ball fake, and then boom, he's at the rim, and he dunks on top of everybody.
Tipped it out to Jordan, down the lane, all the way. Oh, good! An unbelievable goal!
Michael Jordan was doing things that you never even thought you'd see.
Steal, he kept it in bounds. Here it is again.
You couldn't imagine seeing it.
Oh, yes!
Whatever you paid to see Michael Jordan, it wasn't enough. You knew that every night out there, you were going to get the greatest concert of your life.
5 seconds. Jordan on the drive, right of the lane, 18-footer. Yeah! Yeah!
Michael Jordan is sort of the hip-hop version of Dr. J. He come in and he'd walk in the air, and he'd fly sideways, and the tongue out.
Look at the air, look at the hang time, look at the flying motion.
Every year he came back and he was better. He was stronger, he was quicker, he shot the ball better, he added three-point range.
Chart right to Jordan, time winding down, Michael for three. Yeah! 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 Yes! Yes!
Soon he began to make his mark when it counted most, in the postseason.
63 for Jordan. A new NBA record has been set in the Boston Garden. The inbounds pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win it! They win it!
His basketball brilliance was captivating fans not just across the country, but around the world, as Jordan had become a global icon.
Sometimes I dream that he is me. I just want to be like Mike.
As a member of the fabled 1992 Dream Team, he won his second Olympic gold medal. But his most unforgettable performances would take place on the NBA stage, where he turned the finals into his own personal showcase.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan. And the Chicago Bulls have won their first ever NBA championship. Here's Jordan for three. Yes! Did you see that one? Michael can't believe it.
10 seconds to go on the shot clock. 15 in the ballgame. Michael will take it. He's fouled. He scored! Superman's back in the building. 55 for MJ.
But in 1993, after the tragic loss of his father, Michael stunned the basketball world by announcing his retirement. After 18 months away from the game, he decided to return to the hardwood. And when he resumed his career, he and the Bulls continued making history.
The Chicago Bulls have regained the NBA throne, and for Michael Jordan, the king returns.
An emotional moment on this Father's Day for Michael Jordan.
You know, I can't even put it in words. On Father's Day, what it means to me. I know he's watching. This is for Daddy.
MJ, top of the circle, against Russell. Michael hangs, fires, scores! Get it, Bulls win! He knocked it in at the buzzer, Bulls win! How many times has he done that? Michael against Russell, 12 seconds. 11, 10, Jordan. Jordan a drive, hangs, fires, scores! He scores! The Bulls lead 87-86. The Chicago Bulls have won their sixth NBA championship in the last 8 years.
I guess the lasting image I would have of Michael is his smile and his total dominance at both ends of the floor. When you start thinking about all that he did, to me, he's the greatest player to ever play.
Winning is hard to do, and it's a price that you pay for it. And that's how I saw Michael as a player, as somebody that wanted to prove that he's a winner every day.
My final memory of Michael is following through on that shot and making a great extension. That moment when you knew the shot was going in, and just that look when he turned around and came back towards the bench, and his teammates went over to him and they were coming back as a group. That's the memory that sticks with me the most.
This whole thing about you practicing. I mean, if you talk to any of your teammates, they would say, even if they saw something in the game, it's like, shoot, you should have saw him Thursday. to practice with you was like they had a game instead of a practice.
And when I got to the pros with Kevin Lockery, you know, when I was drafted number 3, Kevin Lockery used to put me on the starting 5. We used to be killing the second 5. But he wanted to test me out. So let's say we're going to 8, and it can be 5-1 or 5-2 against the second team. And if you lose, you got to run. He would switch me in the middle of the game to the second team. And I'm saying, well, okay, you trying to prove a point. Boom, we'll bounce back and win the game. Those are all training tools for me. And every day in practice was like that to me. It was a competition. So when the game comes, there's nothing that I haven't already practiced. It's a routine. You know, whatever happens in the game now, okay, I've done this before.
Jordan for the win. Got it! At the buzzer, he's done it again!
Was fear of failure a motivator?
I never feared about my skills, you know, because I put in the work.
Put him away, MJ.
Work ethic eliminates fear.
Yes.
You know, so if you put forth the work, then what are you fearing? You know what you're capable of doing, what you're not.
We're down to 2, now to 1. Here's Jordan. Yes! It is all over. The Chicago Bulls have won at the buzzer.
As a member of the Chicago Bulls, the last shot.
What was that shot?
Game 6.
The Bulls can win it right here. The Bulls can win it. Unbelievable. 13 seconds left. Jordan left side.
I practice as if I'm playing in a game. So when the moment comes in the game, it's not new to me. That's the beauty of the game of basketball. That's the reason why you practice. That's the effort. So when you get to that moment, you don't have to think. Instinctively, things happen.
Of all of you, my former teammates, my former adversaries, my competitors, I want to thank my family for sticking with me for so many years as I chased my dreams of playing basketball. For all the fans who supported the game of basketball, not just Michael Jordan. I thank you for your support. I leave the game in good hands. So many great stars still in the game, so many great stars rising and playing the game. I have passed on the things that Dr. J, some of the great players, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, has passed on to me. I pass on to these all-stars here, as well as the rest of the players in the NBA. I thank you for your support. Now I can go home and feel at peace with the game of basketball. Thank you very much.